Hey buddy, I'm Johnny Scoville.
And I am imitating Papa Scoville.
And this is Chase the Heat. Today it's another installment of our cheese series because it is the cheese that binds us. Today we're reviewing some Stilton blue cheese. I got this from Trader Joe's.
Yeah, Stilton.
Now, let me tell you a little bit. I did a little homework because I don't know much about cheeses. I'm kind of an expert on peppers and things hot. I'm going to become an expert on cheese, and you're all going to come with us on this journey. But let me tell you a little bit about this. I learned a little bit about, you guys have, we all heard of blue cheese. Stilton is a type of blue cheese. Now listen to this, you guys. Blue Stilton, it's a product of England. The ingredients are simply pasteurized milk, salt, microbial rennet, and cheese cultures. But let me give you a little information about Stilton. Stilton is an English cheese, as I just said. It's produced in two varieties. The most common is this, which is blue. Let me show you this. Will you look at that? Look at the edge. It's beautiful, beautiful cheese. All right. So two different varieties. One is blue, which is what we have here, and the second is the less common, lesser known. It's white.
I frankly never saw that.
Me either. Both have been granted the status of a protected designation of origin by the European Commission. Now, what this does is it requires that only cheese produced in three countries of Derbyshire, Leicestershire, and Nottinghamshire, and made according to the very strict code, may be called Stilton. I didn't know that. You know, it kind of reminds us of the Champagne.
The Champagne region, you can't call bubbly wine made in the United States. It may look like champagne, it may taste like it, but don't you dare call it that.
I don't care, but boy, get somebody from the Champagne region of France, they'll be offended that only champagne that comes from that region can really be called champagne.
Exactly.
It's kind of like that with the blue cheeses, and that's called the protected designation of origin. At any rate, the cheese made in the village of Stilton, which is now in Cambridgeshire, could not be sold as Stilton. Isn't that funny? Because it's not one of the three, even though Stilton is made in one of these three, because it's not the three that's designated, it wouldn't be technically Stilton.
Ooh.
It's got to be interesting.
Touchy.
Makes it interesting at Christmas parties, and all right. So let me give you a little more information. All right, so the three different countries of Derbyshire, Leicestershire, and Nottinghamshire, they use local milk only from these areas, and that is pasteurized before use. And at peak times, the milk may also be drawn from the whole of England and Wales, depending on how busy they are. It must have a traditional cylindrical shape. It must form its own crust. See that? If you look here, you can tell that's obviously a crust versus the cheese on the inside. That forms itself. I think that's kind of neat. I didn't know that.
I love it, too.
Yep. It must be unpressed. Unpressed. Not unimpressed, but unpressed. It must contain delicate blue veins radiating from the center. Well, you can obviously see we got that going on here. If you could smell just a pungent aroma, for real. It must have a taste profile typical of Stilton, which only comes from eating a lot of Stilton, I would imagine. A minimum of 40% milk fat in the dry matter. And that's what we're looking at with the Stilton cheese. So now, we kind of showed you you can see the
crust.
The crust that forms itself though over time.
Like that.
That's not something that happens. It's something that happens naturally occurring.
And this shows you, if you'll show your thumb, that is the wheel base. That's why that's why it's cut in a triangle.
Yep.
It comes from a wheel. Right.
All right. So I'm kind of excited to try this. Here's what I thought we'd do, Dad.
Doodad?
Doodad. Okay, we're gonna. Let's do a little aroma. Where's your toothpick?
I never touched it. I didn't want to say anything to you.
I had two toothpicks here.
Wait a minute. I'll use my fingers. It was
don't worry about it. You sit here. I'll get another one. You tell them what your thoughts are on the cheese before we go.
It looks beautiful. It smells
the aroma.
A little strong. To some people, to me, it's not. It's like Johnny is with heat. I taste something and I go, oh, he tastes something and he says, not even a 1 on my scale.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, but you're becoming a chilihead. And we're all cheeseheads. I mean, come on. Here's the thing. Everybody loves cheese. I mean, cats love cheese. Animals love dogs. Bandit, my sister's dog, he loves cheese. All right, so get a...
I'm going to taste it.
Take
the
a
crust.
on the here. Okay, want the crust on there?
Yeah.
All right, so the aroma, it's definitely pungent. It has that pungent, earthy kind of...
Like a sock that's been worn 4 days.
Like a gym sock, like a petting zoo. All right, guys, I'm Johnny Scoville.
Papa Scoville.
It is the cheese that binds us.
Oh.
I love
that. Not much left to say.
It's earthy and kind of nutty, but really pungent. Grab that piece right there. There's so much blue on that. Now, there's a lot of people that are going to be watching these videos that are so much more knowledgeable about cheeses than we are. But I would imagine that blue is just, what is the blue there? It's mold, right?
Yes.
What'd your dad say?
But it's controlled.
What'd Grandpapa Scoville say if you saw cheese under a microscope? What'd he say?
You wouldn't eat it.
Yeah, if you saw cheese under a microscope, you'd be like, I'm all set.
And he also said if there was a real cheese on the dock, you could see it heading to a store by on its own.
No, because here's the truth of it. It's like there's stuff going on here.
Who cares?
Ah, so creamy.
What's going on in here?
It's creamy and delicious. It's got a bite. It's pungent. It's kind of a nutty, earthy flavor.
You feel the people who made it knew what they were doing, didn't they?
Huh? Isn't that amazing? We'll just have a little bit more.
Folks, there's more coming.
Stephen Decker from Cutco. Thank you, brother. Calvin Kennard donated to our channel, gave us the official Chase the Heat chopping board. You guys, this is such a delicious cheese. I know the funny thing about blue cheese is, I think it's one of those things where it's kind of like a love it or hate it sort of a situation. You either love blue cheeses like Gorgonzola and things like that, or you're like, I'm all set.
But this is...
Oh, this is so good. If you're the kind of person who does like blue cheeses, you would love this.
Do we talk about where we bought that?
Sure. We bought this at Trader Joe's. Now, the interesting thing about Trader Joe's is, well, now they license stuff and put their name on it. So if you look at this, it says Trader Joe's on that. But it says made in England. Now, I'll tell you something about Trader Joe's. We kind of have an interesting relationship with them. I either love what they do or I hate it. I say when you're going through the aisles of Trader Joe's, be educated. Have your phone out. Google stuff. Do some research while you're standing in the aisles because they'll have some stuff. Look, their Trader Joe's ghost pepper potato chips are garbage. It's not worth the plastic it's shipped in. I didn't like it at all. It's like, I feel like it was to the point of almost deception in advertising. Trader Joe's, be happy with your blue Stilton. It's a home run. You can't be upset. You go to Trader Joe's, this is a home run every time you grab it, right? And when you say that is?
Absolutely.
What a delicious cheese. It's funny, we could do it, we talked about this too, going back and forth about, should we have this on crackers? And to me, it's sort of like sauce. If a hot sauce should be able to stand on its own. I mean, granted, you're not eating hot sauce by itself, but if a hot sauce requires food for you to like it, you got a problem. This would be great on crackers, but I'm telling you, just by itself, you can appreciate the amazing flavor of this.
There's another thing is that it says Trader Joe's Stilton. Johnny told you it was made in England, but you may not believe this, but they send a representative when they're interested in the new product to the region where the product is made. He tastes various types, and then he comes back and makes.
Good work if you can get it.
Oh boy, you got that right. I saw on CBS, excuse me, a young woman who selected the wines for Costco. All of those wines.
Man, imagine that.
And she was just, you know.
So we need a gigantic chili, hot sauce, pepper, and cheese factory. And I can be the guy who decides what's sold there. Isn't this so tasty? I bet we could eat that whole thing right now just sitting here eating it. Isn't it great though? The flavor is so good. It's such a great pungent finish. It's just amazing.
Years ago, a lot of years ago. Forgive me a minute. I went to Bermuda on my honeymoon. And as we stayed 7 days, we flew down, but sailed back from the Queen of Bermuda. Now, anybody who's ever sailed or gone on a sailing ship knows that they serve food every 26 seconds.
It's really what you're paying
Your
for.
jaw's good. But when we were leaving to come home to America, I went into the stern. And they had a big table with cheeses. And one of them was this one. And ladies and gentlemen, I wouldn't lie to you, it was that high and this big. And my wife said to me, don't you want to watch Bermuda fade? I said, no, I'm going to watch this cheese fade in my throat.
You know, we had this friend, I told you guys who grew up on the East Coast. We're not going to say full names to protect the innocent or the guilty, but we had a friend named Dwayne. This guy was a countryman. Like, made his own leather jackets, and I mean, he grew his own vegetables, and he was the real deal. He had a block of cheese. Remember that?
I do.
It was like, for real, it was like a huge, gigantic block of cheese. And I don't know how old it was.
Well, when I tasted it, I figured it was older than me.
He said it's kind of sharp. That was an aged, sharp cheese. But man, cheese are just such a beautiful thing.
This guy did everything himself. He cooked. He had no running water. He had to keep water running through a hose to keep it from freezing.
He didn't have a phone until like 1978 or something. True
and
story.
He didn't have indoor plumbing. In
An outhouse.
30 below zero, he had to go out. I don't want to talk about it.
He was a good dude, though.
A good
All right,
man.
guys, this is a great cheese. Now, we've been doing other cheeses. We're gonna be a new cheese every single week. This one, obviously, still Blue Stilton from Trader Joe's. There's a difference between blue cheese and Stilton blue cheese. The taste, the difference is all in the flavor. If you haven't tried it yet, you need to. This is just, look at that. You should almost kick on your smell-o-vision. Put your smell-o-vision on, guys. Smell that. You guys smell that? If you're new, you don't know what smell-o-vision is. If you've been with the channel for a while, you're smelling this.
We need smell-o-vision.
One of the people commented yesterday said that they blew one of the blades on their smell-o-vision. It wasn't working. I told them to go on eBay or Amazon and make sure you get the American-made blade replacement for your smell-o-vision, because those cheap knockoffs from China don't work very well. Guys, thank you for hanging out with us. This cheese is great. I know a lot of you guys that are chili heads are crossover cheese heads as well. So if you know some people that are not really chili heads, but boy, they love cheese, tell them about this. Once a week, we'll be doing a cheese review. So go to the description box below. You'll see a link for Trader Joe's. But listen, if they're everywhere. They're all over the place. Go to a Trader Joe's. Just be smart when you're buying there. Some of the stuff is great. Some of the stuff is kind of wonky.
Well, we're giving you one
This is
that
dynamite.
passes the test, for sure.
For sure. You can't go wrong with their Stilton. All right, so I'm going to put a link for Stephen Decker from Cutco. If you want some of the best commercial knives available, it's from Cutco. Right between my dad and I, that's our pepper. You see that thing right there? That's our Chase the Heat family crest. Click it. If you haven't, click it now, please. It's what keeps us motivated to make more of these. If you don't want to miss a video, you don't need to. Click the bell for notification after you click that pepper, and we'll notify you. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Give me that again.
I'm Johnny Scoville.
And I'm Papa Scoville.
This was Chase the Heat.